Once you've got your puppy, then you should have picked it up between 7 or 8 weeks. That's the preferable time to pick your puppy up. And then once you've got it home, give it a 2-week period of settling in, where it knows where it can go to sleep. It's got its own crate or its own bed in an area set aside for it. And then what I tend to do with my puppies, I would make sure that it was comfortable the first couple of nights because it's been taken away from its litter mate. So I'd make it feel comfortable with perhaps a fluffy toy, a warmish sort of hot water bottle covered up, so when it lays against it, it's got the warmth as it would have from its litter mates. And perhaps I would put a clock alongside at the top. Just the ticking sound replicates, the heartbeat of perhaps some of the puppies and what have you. And it just means that the dog is more settled. It's not just left by itself in somewhere completely strange. The breeder will often give you a piece of bedding that most of the pups have been sleeping on as well to take away with you, so it gets used to that being in its bed as well, and it's something from where it came from. So that's what I would tend to do. After that, I would do nothing at all other than being with it, sitting on the floor, letting him sit on the lap, letting him follow me around the kitchen and the lounge and out in the garden, letting him get used to me and I get used to him. And so there's a bond being made between the two of us. Guide dogs who are blind tend to have their dogs out right from the word go, and as soon as the puppy walkers have their dogs at 7 weeks, they've already been inoculated and they're allowed to go out in places, controlled areas, in places where there's no fear of mixing with other dogs, but they're getting used to other things such as sound of buses and noises out in the street, seeing different people walking about, cars moving around and so on. So 7 weeks, that's for the guide dogs, but a lot of vets won't let that happen to ordinary Joe public with their puppies. So obviously you might have to wait a little while. The only trouble with that is if you leave it too late, if you leave it up until about 12 or 15 weeks, the dog is then getting a little bit more wary of things. Up until about 12 weeks, the pup is very confident and bold. He will take in new things, he will be interested, and that's what you want. You want that dog to be seeing all sorts of things for its next stage of going on again. We're trying to make this puppy into having lots and lots of skills and knowledges even before it actually goes and starts doing the job it's supposed to be doing. If you're going to take the puppy out once it's been inoculated, then it's got to be used to being on a collar and lead. But you could do that in the home as soon as you get it. Put a little collar. It doesn't have to be very expensive, just an ordinary little collar you can get for a couple of quid from the pet shop. Let it have it put around its neck. He will most probably jump around and try and scratch it and bite it and what have you, especially if it's on a lead as well. But if you just put the collar on with the lead, let him drag it around the floor, eventually he will get used to it. And once that's happened, once he has got used to it, you then can feel confident to take him outside with you in control of the puppy. I always like to have my dogs bomb-proof purely for the fact that they can handle most situations. Up until about 6 months, I throw them right in the deep end. They get given all sorts of experiences and new things to solve and deal with, but it's always with me. We're out, we're doing certain things, we're looking at certain things like going on train, upstairs, open steps or closed steps, slippery surfaces, seeing buses and trains and taxi cabs and dust carts. We're talking to different people, we're mixing with children and older people, people with disabilities, everything you can possibly think of. The list is endless. I try to think about it, to throw the dog into that sort of situation with me, and we cope with it. Well, firstly, the dog becomes a very good pet. You can take it anywhere. and it's quite confident. You can take it into restaurants and things if they allow it, and it just lays down and it's not fazed by anything. But what I do is I tend to think that once I start taking him out doing things, and my dogs are predominantly gun dogs, they're going to be put into all sorts of situations in the field. And if they've done all this with me, they've learnt to trust me. They've learnt to trust that whatever I say, nothing comes to them of harm. They can deal with it, and together we can get over anything. And so basically, once he's out in the field and I've given him a command and he's unsure, I give him another command to carry on doing what he's supposed to be doing, or to come away from it. He will trust me implicitly and he will do it. And that's the reason why I do all this training beforehand, to make them bomb-proof.